this is art. This isn't just like a song. Like, this is, to me, this is something I'm making that is like totally present, totally connected, so pure and real for me. And it was an awakening moment where I was like, I am who I think I am. So I've been working, I guess, in the music industry since I was like 17, and have been passionate about creating music since I was 10. I started writing my own music at like actually at probably like 15. I've always kind of known like that's something I wanted to do, and it's always been a part of me. Yeah, so now it's been like almost 10 years of making music, and I just released my latest mini album project called Waves. I didn't actually have a very musical background growing up. No one in my family played any instruments besides, you know, those Italian, like, what are they? They're like a piano and whatever this is. What is this called? You know, and they accordion. Yeah, like they would play like the accordion piano, like the older people. Anything that probably turned me off of music. Nobody really played any music. And I think I got into it from Disney movies. That was kind of like what started me being obsessed, because I'd like walk around the house like just singing the Disney movies and stuff. So it started with like singing, being really infatuated in like my own little fantasy world, to then when I actually heard Taylor Swift's first album, that was when I was like, I just really resonated with what she was doing, like writing about her feelings and writing about things she was going through. And I was like, I want to do that. And so that's when I think I was like 12 when that happened. And I started guitar lessons at that point. And once I learned how to play like 4 chords, then I started like putting my emotion into songs and stuff. And it was pretty casual till I was like 15 is when I was kind of like, okay, I think I want to like actually do this as a career. I loved like The Little Mermaid. I loved Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. It's probably all of them. It's all the princess movies I loved, and Peter Pan. But I don't remember if there was actually singing. I don't think there's singing in that movie, or maybe not very much of it, but I also was obsessed with Peter Pan and like Wendy and them. Yeah. Yeah, my teacher in grade 11, who was like my friend at school, like I would eat lunch in the drama room, like instead of out with everyone else. He was like, you are like obviously talented, but you're not showing what you're doing really. Like you're not participating in the school plays or like the talent show or anything. Like you're just kind of, I was like hiding a lot. And he encouraged me to like put myself out there. And so I was like, okay, yeah. So I decided to like put one of the songs I'd written on SoundCloud, and I made like a little garage band demo with my guitar and just like, I don't even know what mic I used, but some microphone that I had. And then I posted another one, and it was one of those things where like my aunt shared it on her Facebook, and a friend of a friend saw it and was like, I actually work at a record label. And this guy, like, I showed it to my boss because I thought it was so cool. And like, he wants to invite Aviva in, which is my real name, Aviva, to come in and like, just no strings attached, just kind of like use their studio if she wants to like write there and things. So I was like, holy crap. So that was how I started working with at the time they were called Grace and Matthews in Toronto. And that's kind of how I got into it. It was super serendipitous. Just kind of like, it's always to be singing. It's the only thing with music. It's the only thing where it's just kind of happened for me. Like, as long as I work hard and I like put time into it, I've always found, even like, obviously I've had like failures and stuff, but I've found that it's just like clear that this is like my path, because it's always kind of laid out in front of me. Even if it's like over a bunch of hurdles, I kind of know where I'm going, you know? I would say like at the beginning of it, I was playing a character, and I think being young, like I'm writing songs at 17, like I was a lot more emotional and in a way in my life playing a character. So like in my music playing a character and stuff. And I think how it's evolved is I put a lot more of myself intentionally into it, into what I create. And I try to tell the whole story instead of when I was younger. I just don't feel like I really knew who I was. And the things I was writing, although it was true for me in that moment, I look back and I'm like, oh, I can see more to that story now. I don't even know how to explain it other than I just feel more authentic. And I think growing in the music industry helped me to just kind of learn how to be more honest and translate what I was feeling more accurately into the music, if that makes sense. It's more like climbing into my head and my heart now, whereas my music before was kind of just like, it felt like almost like an AI was working for me, and I was experimenting and trying things and like emulating people that I was inspired by, like Taylor Swift and like Kesha, and you can hear like the 1975 Marina and the Diamonds, like all the people I was inspired by, I was emulating them. Whereas now they inspire me, but I feel like it's really coming from me, and I've really like honed how to channel my own voice into the music. And it's like, it is really nice and I love it. And then there's another part of me that's just like, probably the younger version of me that is like, I never wanted to be this exposed. Like, I don't love the idea of like, I love the idea of people who relate to my music hearing it and loving it. But I always think about like people who don't like me listening to it, or people that like don't know me anymore getting to listen to it and hear how I feel, but like I don't get that from them kind of thing. Like, I know that some people might know what songs I've written are about us or about them or about like a situation we were in. And I think about them hearing it and I'm like, well, you get to get my closure, but I don't get to get your closure. You didn't write a song about it. So like, yeah, so there's like a weird feeling of like nakedness. Like I feel kind of naked more than when I released like older music and stuff. As like 4 Zoom sessions a week. So like writing music over a computer with different strangers like every day. So it was like a huge exercise in songwriting and experimenting and stuff, but it really burnt me out. And I ended up taking like 6 months off of music entirely just because it confused me so much. I didn't know what I wanted to say anymore. I didn't know who I was. I felt so drained. And at the time I kind of felt like I was working with the wrong people too. And I was just like, I kind of manifested it. I was like, I want to find my people that I can just work with them and I trust them, and we work over time to create something together and intentionally, just us in like our little world. And I wanted to create a world. And so then in came my co-writers into my life via my publishing company, or like the publishing label that I'm signed to. I don't know what to call them, but my publishing people, which are Day Tripper. So then I was like, okay, I met them, I loved them, and I was like, I want to write with you. Like, I want to write with you, just something in my heart. I was like, let's do it. So twice a week, whenever I could get in, we would go in and we'd write music, just us together. So for like 2 years, I was just writing with them. I'd go in, we wrote a lot of songs that no one will ever hear. But when we wrote these songs that are on the mini album, it was just like a magical experience. And it having that safety of that world and having the safety of just being with people I totally trusted, like brought out things in me that I did not know were there anymore, and reminded me who I really was and like what I actually wanted to say. So it was a very like healing experience, and I think you can hear that in the mini album because like a lot of the themes of it are healing and empowering and taking your voice back, and that's kind of what that was like. I remember making sad stories and being like, I don't know how to put into words. This is why I'm a songwriter, because talking is not my, I have to like speak in poetry and prose. But it was, yeah, let me just hold on. The wind passed through me in such a way as spirit would a tree, and the sound, it was like an ocean. Making that song, Sad Stories, was like an ocean was going through me. And there was this change that happened in my brain because I was very unsure about if I even could still make music at this point. And when we made Sad Stories and I heard it and I was like, this is art. This isn't just like a song. Like, this is, to me, this is something I'm making that is like totally present, totally connected, so pure and real for me. And it was an awakening moment where I was like, I am who I think I am. You know, I think that like I'd been told so many times who I should be and what I can't be and what I am by other people. And I really trusted other people's perspective of me more than my own. And I think when we made Sad Stories, and specifically the message of that song being like, you don't get to tell me who I am. And this person specifically was telling me the view they had of me was so horrible and so like minimizing of what I truly am. And this song was like, no, I know who the hell I am, and that's what's going to change. I'm going to stop listening to what you're saying, and I'm going to trust that like I have a gift, I have a voice, I have something to say. That was very powerful for me. And that was like probably, that song was an incredible experience to me, because it felt like it was making me. I felt like Michelangelo, where it was like the sculpture is in the rock and you just have to find the sculpture. Like, you don't actually make the sculpture, it's just in the rock and you find it. And I like, that's how it felt. Sometimes I think you write the song. Like, I think you go in sometimes to a session knowing what you're gonna write and you write it. And sometimes you go into a session and a song happens to you, and then you're like, I didn't even know I felt that way, or that I was capable of saying this out loud, or like that I even knew what this meant. And now I get it. And it helps you like learn yourself. So it happens both ways sometimes. Like, I would say Language, for example, was a song where I knew what I was gonna say. I was like, this is what I wanna say. I have a specific intention going in, and we made the song around that vision. Whereas sometimes the song just hits you. Like, you're just like, I'm feeling a compelling need to express this idea that I don't even fully understand yet. Yeah, it's very magical. Yeah. Right now, Ryan Tedder is like, he was in One Republic, and he works now with like Tate McRae. He just did like the recent like Tate McRae album. I've always wanted to work with him. I feel like that would be amazing. That's like producer wise my dream. Songwriter wise, I mean, obviously I feel like the dream is Taylor Swift. I was trying to think of a different person, because I'm like, oh, Taylor Swift is so like popular right now and so like obvious. But really, like, because she's like part of the reason I got into this industry, that would be like a full circle moment for me of like getting to write with my idol, like, you know, my mother. So that would be my two dream like collabs. Yeah, it's just like, it's kind of like, well, yeah, not anyone would want to write with Taylor Swift. That's like how I see it. But I'm like, you know, I don't even know if I could, honestly. I'd go into the room and just like cry probably. Well, I'm wearing my merch right now. This is me. I didn't buy this shirt for myself. My fiance bought it and then it didn't fit him. So I'm wearing this today. But yeah, I have my link trees on my Instagram. All my socials are at CARYS Official. And on my link tree, you can find like my merch, my where to stream waves. I'm trying to think what else is on there. Yeah, like all my other socials, my TikTok, you know, all that stuff. And I think my link tree is xcarysx. But yeah, got my new album that just came out. My socials are at CARYS Official. And that's what I have.
That's what's gonna